The survival. The first humans did not build civilizations, they survived. For hundreds of thousands of years, humanity lived in small tribes, moving through forests, deserts, and grasslands. They hunted animals, gathered fruits, feared nature, and stared at the stars wondering what existed beyond death, beyond storms, beyond themselves. Then something changed. Agriculture. Humans discovered that seeds could become food, and food could become stability. Stability created villages. Villages became cities. Cities became civilizations. And from that moment onward, humanity began reshaping the earth. Mesopotamia. Between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, in present-day Iraq, humanity built one of the first known civilizations. The Sumerians created cities like Uruk and Ur. They developed writing known as cuneiform. They built irrigation systems to control rivers. They invented mathematics systems that still influence how we measure time today. 60 seconds, 60 minutes. This civilization introduced organized government, taxation, legal systems, and monumental temples called ziggurats. But Mesopotamia was never one empire forever. It became a chain of rising and collapsing powers. The Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians. Empires rose through warfare and collapsed through warfare. Yet one thing survived all of them: the idea that humans could organize society at massive scale. Civilization had begun. Ancient Egypt civilization. While Mesopotamia fought between rivers, another civilization rose beside one: the Nile. Ancient Egypt survived because the Nile flooded predictably every year, turning desert into fertile land. Egypt became one of the most stable civilizations in history, lasting over 3,000 years. Its rulers, the pharaohs, were seen not merely as kings, but as divine beings connecting heaven and earth. The Egyptians mastered architecture, engineering, medicine, astronomy, writing through hieroglyphics. They built pyramids that still challenge modern understanding of labor organization and engineering precision. But Egypt's greatest achievement was psychological. They built a civilization around eternity. Death was not an ending, it was a transition. Their tombs, rituals, and preservation of bodies reflected a civilization obsessed with immortality and cosmic order. For them, civilization was not just about survival, it was about transcending death itself. In present-day Pakistan and northwest India, another great civilization emerged: the Indus Valley Civilization. Cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro showed extraordinary urban planning: grid-based streets, drainage systems, public baths, standardized bricks, water management systems. Remarkably, archaeologists found little evidence of massive palaces or giant royal tombs compared to Egypt and Mesopotamia. This raises one of history's greatest mysteries. How was this civilization organized? Its writing system remains undeciphered. Its rulers remain uncertain. Its religion remains debated. And then it disappeared. Climate change, shifting rivers, environmental pressures, or societal decline may have contributed to its collapse. One of humanity's greatest civilizations faded almost silently. Ancient China. Near the Yellow River, Chinese civilization emerged through dynasties. Unlike many civilizations that vanished completely, China evolved continuously across thousands of years. The Xia, the Shang, the Zhou, the Qin, the Han. Each dynasty reshaped Chinese identity while preserving continuity. China developed paper, gunpowder, the compass, silk production, advanced metallurgy, large bureaucratic governments. Confucianism shaped morality and governance. Taoism explored harmony with nature. Legalism enforced centralized power. China did not merely build cities, it built systems. Systems strong enough to preserve civilization through invasions, wars, famines, and dynastic collapse. Even today, traces of ancient Chinese civilization remain deeply embedded in global culture and technology. The Minoans and Mycenaeans. On the island of Crete, the Minoans created a maritime civilization connected through trade across the Mediterranean. Their palaces contained advanced plumbing, colorful frescoes, and evidence of a culture heavily tied to the sea. Then came the Mycenaeans of mainland Greece, more militaristic, more expansionist. These civilizations helped lay foundations for Greek civilization. Then came collapse. Around the Bronze Age collapse, many Mediterranean civilizations suddenly declined due to warfare, instability, migration, and economic breakdown. Civilization is not guaranteed. History repeatedly proves this. Ancient Greece civilization. If Egypt mastered eternity and Mesopotamia mastered administration, Greece mastered thought. Greek civilization transformed philosophy, politics, mathematics, science, literature, and art. Athens explored democracy. Sparta built military society. Philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle questioned reality itself. The Greeks asked, what is truth? What is justice? What is the ideal society? What makes a good human being? Their thinkers shaped Western philosophy for over 2,000 years. Greek civilization also spread through Alexander the Great, whose empire connected cultures from Greece to Egypt to India. Ideas began traveling across civilizations at unprecedented scale. Humanity was becoming intellectually interconnected. Rome. Rome began as a small city. It became one of the largest empires in human history. Rome mastered military organization, engineering, roads, administration, law, and expansion. Roman roads connected continents. Roman law influenced modern legal systems. Roman architecture reshaped urban design. But Rome's greatest power was integration. It absorbed cultures, languages, religions, and peoples into one imperial system. Then, Christianity emerged inside the empire. A small persecuted movement eventually transformed the spiritual identity of Europe and beyond. Yet Rome collapsed in the West. Economic crises, political corruption, military pressure, internal instability. Even the greatest empires can fracture under their own weight. African civilizations. Africa was never civilizationless. Long before colonial narratives distorted history, African civilizations flourished. Ancient Nubia rivaled Egypt. The Kingdom of Aksum connected Africa to global trade. The Mali Empire became one of the wealthiest empires in history through gold and trade. Timbuktu became a center of scholarship and learning. The Great Zimbabwe civilization built massive stone structures without mortar. African civilizations developed trade networks, architecture, governance systems, spiritual traditions, and centers of knowledge. Much of this history was ignored or minimized globally for centuries. But civilization has never belonged to one race, one region, or one people. Human brilliance emerged everywhere. The Islamic civilization of knowledge. After the rise of Islam in the 7th century, major centers of knowledge emerged across the Middle East, North Africa, Persia, and parts of Spain. Baghdad became one of the intellectual capitals of the world. Muslim scholars preserved and expanded knowledge in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, chemistry, engineering. Algebra advanced. Hospitals expanded. Scientific observation improved. While parts of Europe experienced instability after Rome's collapse, Islamic civilizations became centers of learning and translation. Knowledge moved between civilizations. Human progress became cumulative. Civilizations of the Americas. Across the Atlantic, civilizations rose independently. The Olmecs, the Maya, the Aztecs, the Inca. The Maya developed advanced astronomy and calendars. The Aztecs built vast cities like Tenochtitlan. The Inca constructed massive road systems across mountains without wheeled transport. These civilizations achieved remarkable engineering, agriculture, governance, and mathematics independently from Eurasian civilizations. Then, European conquest arrived. Diseases, warfare, colonization, and exploitation devastated entire populations. Human civilization advanced technologically, but morally, history remained deeply conflicted. The medieval. After Rome, Europe reorganized through kingdoms, feudal systems, and religious institutions. Castles rose, knights emerged. The church gained immense influence. Meanwhile, civilizations in Asia, Africa, and the Islamic world continued advancing in trade, science, and governance. The Mongol Empire later connected massive portions of Eurasia through conquest, trade routes, and cultural exchange. Civilizations were no longer isolated. The world was becoming interconnected through movement, conflict, and commerce. Then came industrialization. Machines replaced manual labor. Factories transformed economies. Electricity reshaped life. Oil powered nations. The internet connected humanity. Modern civilization achieved things ancient humans would consider supernatural: flight, space exploration, artificial intelligence, instant communication across continents. Yet modern civilization also created nuclear weapons, environmental destruction, psychological isolation, and unprecedented inequality. Humanity became more technologically advanced than ever before. But one ancient question still remains unresolved. Has human wisdom evolved as fast as human power? Because every civilization before us believed in some way that it would last forever. None of them did. And perhaps the greatest lesson of civilization is this: humanity repeatedly builds greatness and repeatedly risks destroying it. The story of civilization is not merely the story of power. It is the story of human consciousness trying to understand itself.